RogueCon 23. That's right. It is here. It's not back. It's here. It's the first one. Join the ultimate celebration of digital content with its creators, passionate fans, and industry experts. It is all happening in downtown Waco across multiple venues, January 20th through the 22nd of 2023. Now, if you want to go, you got to get tickets, and tickets are on sale at RogueCon23.com. That's RogueCon, RogueCon 23.com. Be there. I'm going to be there. Everybody's going to be there. Let's go.
BooBaes. BooBaes.
And hello. Hi.
How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm here.
We're here. We showed up.
I feel very crispy.
And where'd we show up to?
To Rogue Media Network. Oh, to BooBaes.
BooBaes.
Podcast.
You know, both are true. Both are true. We are in the lovely Rogue Media Network studios.
To the
we
table.
are here to talk about horror movies, you guys, because this is
right.
BooBaes, and I am Joshua, and
I am Caitlin.
yes,
And we're your hosts. And we're here to talk about all the things
we're excited,
that
right?
you would want to. Yes.
Because what are we doing? It's summer-timey outside, and like you said, it was very
Can't be.
hot when you walked in.
Yes. Oh, my God.
Extremely hot today. I think actually we have like a power grid warning or something like today.
Oh, shit. That
had
wouldn't
to,
surprise me.
Make sure that they were like conserve energy because it's so hot, and obviously everybody's running, I guess, their aircon and electricity. But like
My AC when
There
I
was a
got
warning
home was
and my
at
house shut down.
86. And I was like, no.
that's hot.
So I turned that motherfucker down.
That's
so
way
I am
too hot.
not. I mean, it's been on 86 all day, so I feel like I'm allowed to make it lower now.
Yeah.
I
think you
conserved for 9 hours.
I didn't. It was on full blast. It was hot.
I literally, I got home and took a shower after teaching and was like drenched after my
bet.
shower. I put
And
on my
that's not
shirt
a-
when I got
that's-
here.
I hate that feeling of like when you're like your clothes are wet, even like because you've been sweating that much, like and it
Yeah.
just feels gross.
That's how
all
I feel.
damp.
Nice
Well,
and damp.
To
Anyways,
begin our lovely horror summer bash, we're
you know
gonna
who
be
else is damp?
Ooh,
Jason, because he's been in the
he
bottom
is
of the
damp
pond.
this whole time, and that is our lovely segue into what we're covering today. We are going to be covering Friday the 13th,
The OG.
the original, not the 2009 remake, I believe is what it is.
And
'cause
what year was this from, Joshua?
It's 1980.
Okay.
1980.
I was like, that's what I wrote down, but I don't trust myself.
No, it's okay. It was 1980. It was released 2 weeks before The Shining, actually.
Oh.
2 weeks right before The Shining.
Wow.
And it ended up making more money than The Shining did, just in its opening weekend.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Because, well, no, The Shining was
Well, yeah.
so good.
But I think also too, especially with like the creation of Friday, like this whole film, I think it really had a really great marketing system scheme. I don't know how to marketing plan
I read that they started like marketing and putting clips
before
out.
it was made.
Yeah, before it even had financing.
Yeah, literally.
Like, they're
before
like,
it was
we
even-
don't know if we can make this movie, but we're gonna
The
put it out a clip.
guy who came up with it, he put it like an ad in like some paper or magazine, like months before it even was greenlit to go, and
That's
called
so
it the scariest
wild.
film ever made.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow, way to hype yourself up.
Yeah, he really only had the idea of the title because he just really loved Friday the 13th
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of made that like, and honestly, that even kind of necessarily doesn't even have too much to do with the movie. It's just that it happens to happen on that day.
On a Friday the 13th.
Yeah, mhm.
And I was talking with Mike before this. I believe it was actually released on a
On
Friday the 13th.
That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Said it was May 9th, I think, 1980. But I didn't do enough research to see if that actually was Friday the 13th.
But wouldn't the
'Cause I'm
13th be a
lazy.
13th?
Oh
and
my
not a
God,
9th?
yeah. You're so right. I'm a fucking dumbass bitch. What is wrong with me?
I'm like over here sitting
my
so
God.
confused. I was like, wait a minute.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that math's
So it
right.
was released on May 9th.
May 9th?
Well,
Okay,
that's a
but
really missed opportunity.
Maybe it was right before a 13th. Like they couldn't get
Yeah.
it like directly on.
Ooh, so they just wanted, well,
But
I want you to be scared on Fright. They really should have just waited.
That was a missed opportunity, to be honest.
I guess maybe they were like, we got to get a one up on The Shining.
And that probably could have been something to do with it. Maybe the next Friday the 13th wasn't until like 3 or 4 months late.
Yeah.
But honestly, though, May for a horror movie,
yeah, that's kind of an odd choice. But
I
will
feel like
say,
that happens. The Shining came out 2 weeks later, so hey.
Yeah, and a lot of like somewhat good-looking horror films have been coming out
Not
recently
around like the Halloween time. Yeah. Spook season.
I mean, we've been seeing more ads and stuff for them, trailers.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
some of them are coming out like now and came out like 2 months ago and stuff. So that's
But we decided to open with this movie because I feel like the cultural significance that this movie plays in its role in like horror film and like a lot of the tropes that we know a good horror film for today, I feel like derived from the culmination of this movie because although too, this movie is basically like a conglomerate of like a whole bunch of other horror movies that like came right before it.
It says like the director took a lot of inspiration from Halloween, but I'm going to be honest. I mean, other than the fact that it's like kind of a stocky killer or
like
something.
Like the POV shots.
Yeah. Other than that,
you didn't
I
get
don't
like those
really
vibes?
Get much Halloween vibes. And then the fact that they're like both hardcore slashers and stuff with some pretty intense death. I got more Psycho vibes with like especially with Miss Voorhees and her at the end
because it's like mommy and like you know but and see that's where like
and then some of those overlapping scenes
and a lot of that was like them borrowing from because the guy who came up with the concept blatantly told the like director, the screenplay guy, like Halloween made a whole lot of money last year. And we want to capitalize on that and make just as much money because he has been coming from his company where he had been making like movies that weren't making any money at all. Yeah. And so he wanted to try to capitalize on that.
I see that Victor Miller is who's that. So the screenwriter Victor Miller originally came up with something, a different name in mind. And so in the spring of 1979, he was calling the film Long Night at Camp Blood. And so now I understand where the Camp Blood came in because I was like, that's literally the dumbest fucking name I've ever heard.
Really?
Like y'all couldn't think of anything else.
Camp Horror.
Camp Blood.
Yeah. Well, and we'll come to that in a minute. What's up?
Speaking of the camp used for filming is still operational.
Really?
So Camp Crystal Lake is actually Camp Nobi Bosco. Nobi Bosco.
Where is it at?
That's a great question.
It's not that important. I saw,
but it's a fully operational camp.
I did see one of like the truck that drove Miss I forget her name. One of the girls, Annie. There you go. It said NJ on it, so I'm assuming they were New Jersey.
Yeah, I don't know if that's where.
Because I was a little curious about where this all took place.
Nobi Bosco. Oh well, it had a nice little link. It's literally called NO-BE-BO-SCO.
That sounds like
Nobi Bosco.
Okay, I see. Since 1927. That's a long time.
That is.
I'm sure some people have died there.
Oh, there had to have been some.
Oh wait, that sounded really bad. I'm sorry. I don't hope so, but like it just would be really fitting if it did.
I hope so many people have died.
Literally.
It's in New Jersey, Hardwick, New Jersey.
Hey, okay,
there
cool.
You go.
Context clues, very important. You guys, be observant. So let's go ahead and jump in. I feel like this movie starts off with, I love the opening shot of like the moon. And already from the get-go, I mean, you can tell this was filmed in 1980 because like it's got that grainy vibe to it, like the quality of the film and like the sound. I guess we should let y'all know. I watched it on Paramount Plus.
That is also where I watched it.
It's free on there
as well.
But I do know that it's available for like rent for like $2 on Amazon. Yeah, Prime.
Because we looked there first, and then we tried looking in a few other places.
I'll always try to find like, where's the free one?
Yeah. I'm like, and let's go to every single streaming app
and look it up and see, because sometimes even if you Google it, it'll be like it's here, and then when you go to look for it, it's not there. Yeah.
And there was somewhere else that like Andrew had looked it up. He was trying to get it ready, and he was like, "If it fucking said it was free, what the hell?" And then so then I was like, try something else. Try Paramount Plus, try something. And then he was like,
I can hear like his verbiage saying that. Like I can hear him and his voice. That's funny. But yeah, so we have them opening up. We have us hearing some counselors are singing What You Do at like a camp. It's 1958. It gives us a little time thing at the bottom.
Vibes. It was very religious. It sounds like
songs. A gospel song. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're singing a very religious song. The counselors are around the fire, but they aren't acting religious because we have Miss. Well, we didn't get names. We have two counselors that are just kind of Googling each other, and I put the same too. They're ogling. I was like, ooh, these campers are about to fuck. But
I love how right off the bat we get the classic like.
Oh yeah. It's already starting, so you get the sound that Caitlin just made, and it's throughout the entire movie. Yeah, and it's essentially basically like what the like noises from Texas Chainsaw Massacre would be, or like the piano for what's it called,
Halloween or Halloween, yeah,
both, yeah, singing of the bells, something of the bells.
Yeah, that's right. They were like super similar songs.
And so. Yeah, it's I really like it because it kind of adds a little like extra layer throughout the whole movie, and I like the whole.
It feels campy.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it feels like
which is fitting.
Sounds that you would hear like outside, like.
Speaking of some of those sounds, like those animal sounds, some of those birds sounded like they were screaming.
Oh yeah,
there was some really unique.
It all gave me like
bird sounds,
nostalgic, familiar feeling of like even here, like sometimes when you go outside Texas heat and you just hear like. The cicadas, outside, and that's what we got a lot through this movie.
It very much gave you like
you're at camp.
We're at camp.
Camp Blood.
Camp Blood.
And so we have them all singing. Obviously, these two were fucking each other. So they get up, they go away. She passes her guitar to someone, and they sneak off. And it's kind of like, oh, we know what this is happening. They're gonna go try to find somewhere to canoodle and kiss and whatever. And she asked him like, oh, is this how Mary Ann kisses? And he's like, oh, I wouldn't know that. Like basically trying to tell her he has only eyes for her. I'm like, he lying. He at camp. That's the whole point of these summer camps.
New woman each week.
Literally. And so we have them basically then this whole time we had that POV, happening, someone walking. We can kind of like keeping eyes on everything and everybody. And then we find them at the top of a barn. And
it's the most awkward way to. They were like, let's sit down
on this wooden
and then
floor.
Let's just kind of halfway lay down. And it's like, yo, if you're coming here to do that, just like
you're gonna get a splinter.
Get to it. Yeah. They laid down that thin blanket, but
still,
what else?
I don't trust wood.
You're gonna scooch off. It at some point.
I hope so, because otherwise it's very vanilla.
Yeah.
And so then we have. Basically, we can't see who the killer is, obviously. So, but they come up and they're like, "Oh my God, we're not doing anything.
We were just messing around.
Just you, literally on the floor, tongues in each other's mouths, and
your clothes were like half unbuttoned.
Like, we were Bible study.
Yeah.
No, and so we have the boy, which is kind of comedic. He gets stabbed and right in the stomach, and then we have this chick. The way she
runs around.
I don't understand what her thought process was.
She was like, yeah, give me over here. Give me over here.
Yeah, basically, you guys. She's moving from side to side.
And she's like in front of things. Yeah. Not really.
You can't get away.
The first place she goes is literally like in.
But yeah, and then when we get to the killer, so it made it hard. Like when the killer is revealed, it kind of made like a lot of these deaths seem like, how did someone's weighs less than me, like older age, like accomplish all this and not get overpowered by one of these,
by at least one of them,
one of the teen boys.
Some of them, like especially this one, some of the other deaths were pretty clever and took them by surprise. But yeah, especially these, like they could have, I guess they were caught off guard, but just like a fucking kick to the gut.
I think that's just us though. We're survivors.
Risk getting my leg chopped off.
We're not gonna like just take it.
Face. Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, so we get our first two deaths of the movie already, opening it up, like not even like 5 minutes in, and we have them dying in kind of this kind of ridiculous, not ridiculous ways, but it's just kind of funny. And then we have like whenever the girl finally gets murdered, which it doesn't show, but we have that zoom into her face where it just like
pan.
Yeah, it just freezes, and then we get this long zoom in into her agape mouth, and then we get a title sequence of Friday the 13th coming in, which I thought was pretty cool. I like that. And then we have the glass shattering. We get the music. The music throughout this movie was sometimes a bit like, I feel like they were trying a little too hard with the score. I feel like they were trying to get like, we need like a Halloween moment or like something, but a lot of the times it just felt very like
it was a
jarring
lot.
and a lot,
yeah.
and like
especially towards the end,
it was grinding. It was annoying like on the ears.
The last scene, like the lake scene, that music, it's like it was trying to be tranquil, but then it was so dissonant and loud that I was like, this is a little much.
And then at the end of it, it got more like,
yeah,
like, yeah, it almost gave me like Jaws. A lot of times this gave me Jaws vibes. So which also goes to show like they were kind of like not ripping off, but you know, trying to emulate all these other feelings that you got from these other scary movies up until this point. But
they were like, let's take what everyone else did right,
literally,
and try and make it our
throw
own.
It on, and put a nice little title to it. And so yeah, basically after all of that, we have present day, and we have Annie, and she's looking a little bit like a vagrant.
Yeah, she got her
little hobo.
Looked like she's hiking like I did when I was hiking across Europe.
She got her whole bag. She's trying to, I guess, get to Camp Crystal Lake. That's going to be the scene for the whole part of the movie. And I love how she goes and asks the dog for directions.
That doggy was having none of her shit.
Literally none of it.
He was like, I don't speak English.
And she didn't even have a treat. Like, you don't ask a dog for something without a treat.
He was like, you pet me, no food?
Have you seen the TikTok of the dog that shakes your hand for $1?
No.
It is so cute. I don't know how like
I bet that
dog labor laws work, but I think it's like not here. It's like in Mexico or somewhere. This dude has a little dog. He's set up. He has a little sign and his little sunglasses, and you go put $1 in the bucket, and he'll like lift his paw and give you a handshake. But he only does it for the handshake. He knows not to like. If you don't put $1 in there, you don't get a handshake. You don't even get acknowledged.
Who are you? You're not here.
Literally.
No dollar, no existence.
And so
that's what I'm gonna start living by.
For real, she's looking for this place. She ends up eventually finding a cafe in town, downtown apparently. So they're downtown, and as soon as she's like, "Hey, does anybody know how to get to Camp Crystal Lake?" Everybody's like looking at her. They turn down the music. She's like, "It's about some miles from here, wouldn't you say?" And then they're all like, "You're trying to go to Camp Blood?
That place is cursed."
Literally.
And why the fuck you wouldn't turn around right after that?
Yeah,
but who knows?
And they made it a point to like still be all up in her Kool-Aid. But I feel like that's also like the small town vibes, you know. That's very like they all know who's who and what's going on, and they're not used to change. And this is difference.
Like we talked about in the cabin in the woods, kind of
like the red herring, or not red herring, but
the person who's the prophet of doom.
There you go.
Basically.
That's a good way to say it. Prophet of doom.
Yeah, like we had in Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Kind of, well, at least.
Which I believe came out before this, right? Yep. 70s. Yeah.
And then now, like,
that's like how it becomes. This kind of cemented that idea in the horror movie like trope universe of like these things have to be in line or happen. Like there has to be a virgin. There has to be two kids that have sex. There has to be So all those things kind of,
I feel like, I mean, if anything, Cabin in the Woods took a lot from this.
Oh yeah,
there was also another.
I feel like they're kind of like the reincarnation of what Friday the 13th was trying to be, basically, and not necessarily be like I feel like Cabin in the Woods was definitely more like camp, and it knew what it was trying to do, like be the joke of it.
Meta.
Whereas Friday was like trying to do it, but not be meta and not
this is a serious horror film.
Let us in on it. Yeah. But yeah, we have all that happening. Finally, I guess I would be so mad at that freaking diner lady who's just like, "Oh, aren't you heading up that way?" And the way he was like, well, damn it, Skip. All right, let's go.
Guess you're right.
Yeah.
Guess I am.
I'd be like, no, don't be putting that on me.
I'm sure not.
For real.
What's his name? Enos?
I think so.
Enos.
The
way that, when they get outside and he's like, Enos?
Is it Enos or Ennis?
It's Anus.
Anus honest. It's one of the three. But yeah, he was kind of weird. But
when they got out and he was like, "Are all the girls at camp gonna be as pretty as you?" And I was like, "Shut the fuck up, creep! Like, come on."
And then that's whenever
he touches her butt getting in the car too.
Oh, he did?
Well, yeah, like he's just helping her up, but he got a full hand. Yeah.
We have at that point. that's when they run into the Prophet of Doom, Mr. Ralph, and he starts spewing out, there's a death curse.
You will never come back.
You'll never come back.
You're
There's
going
a death
to Camp
curse.
Crystal Lake or Camp Blood, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
You'll never come back.
And yeah, basically the dude who always sounds crazy, he hasn't had a shower and looks like he smells a little bit, probably has some alcohol. Yeah. Or he could just be a really nice, respectable guy and nobody even gives him a time of day.
No, they did say
he was like a fool.
He drank a lot.
Yeah. And he always ended up in like a
jail for a week.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he had some issues. Also, don't trust people who ride bikes with perfect posture. Motherfucker rode off like,
oh, he did. Yeah.
I hate that. I hate it.
Oh, even later when he's like leaving the camp, when he goes to, Harbinger Doom, Harbinger of Doom or something like that.
Yeah.
It's got the Harbinger. I think that they called him in that.
That is.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me, you guys.
Coffee.
And so, later on when he's getting away and he's going into like the woods, like the way he's riding the bike.
Yeah.
I was fully expecting him to like hit a rock and like plop over. And so we get a ride to Camp Crystal Lake, but on this ride, he's basically telling her and warning her that she shouldn't go because of all these things that happened. Basically, we had the people dying in 58, the 2 kids that were murdered, but the year before that, we had a boy drowning, which is a foreshadowing in 57. And we have a bunch of fires. We have in 62, they tried to open back up the camp, but the water was bad, whatever that means.
Yeah, no, I was like
well, how did
was
she
it the
poison
lake water,
the water?
Or was it like just the water lines themselves were all cut or something? I don't know. I was like, what if they
release some flesh-eating amoebas? I don't know.
She possibly could have to keep kids out
of
the water.
Yeah. And so we have,
I feel like all that information should be disclosed, right? Like you're going to a camp and where active murders are happening. I feel like
obviously Steve, the owner, I'm sure was like, this is also 1980. I believe it's set in that time. It's set in that time period too, obviously.
Yeah, 78.
So like, I feel like there's not, there's not as many like rules for working, if that makes sense.
There definitely wasn't.
Like, yeah,
a lot more shit flew.
Yeah, exactly. Under the radar. So yeah, these campers are not aware basically of like all the bad stuff that has happened at this camp. And then right after we get his little also message of doom and putting doom to her, we get a whole other shot of banjo music. I was like, where did this come from? But
dear God, the banjo.
We have.
I mean, I think that's what they were like listening to.
Yeah, in the car. But we have this group of kids, 3 of them. We have Jack, Marcia, and Marcia. Is it Marcy? Is it Marcy? Okay.
I think so.
And Ned. And Jack is played by Kevin Bacon. And I feel like Ned is someone too. He's
he gave me very at the time of this coming out, Kevin Bacon actually wasn't the most popular.
No, he didn't get popular until like I think 4 years later with Footloose in '84. Because he had one role or a couple roles in some big films right before this.
He'd had a small role in Animal House, and at the time, the biggest name in the film was Harry Crosby, the son of the recently deceased singer Bing Crosby. And he played Bill.
Bill? Oh, really? I recognize Ned though. Ned, he's like
definitely
when he gets older, like in other films. Like I recognize him in his like 30-ish form, not whatever
he was
age
so
they were there.
Little.
Who?
Like he just looked so young.
Ned?
And yes.
Oh yeah, he looked very young. And so yeah, we got a Kevin Bacon, we got Ned, we got Miss Marcy, and that's whenever they get to the camp, they pull up, and we have Steve, who is their boss outside. He's chopping some wood.
And he was wearing shorts like yours.
Oh, yeah, I noticed.
I was like, oh, those are Josh shorts.
And so we have some nice 1970-ish, 1980s short shorts. He's chopping wood outside. Everybody pulls up, and that's when he's like calling everybody to help.
I guess if I was looking pretty good, I would also.
You got to.
Yeah, I'd be doing
short
that too.
I also just hate pants. I can't wear pants. Well, I mean, I can, and I do. But whenever I do, just know I don't like it. So
he was in the remake as well.
Really?
Mark Nelson was, yeah.
Ned?
Yeah.
Neddy.
Yeah.
Cool, I'll have to look it up. Mark Nelson. Watch him not even be who I thought it was.
He gave me, he's actually not in a lot.
then I got him confused with someone else, and I don't know
He's got one of those faces. He kind of reminds me of, what's that one where he skipped school?
Ferris Bueller?
Yeah. He kind of gives me his face vibes.
That's interesting. You know who he gives me? Especially in this picture, I guess. I think it's one of the Brady Bunch kids.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I think it's one of them. But
he's like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, we got them all helping Steve out now. We have Alice rushing out because Steve caught her.
From the get, you can tell Alice is our final girl.
Oh yeah,
she gives major final girl vibes. I can't.
She does, especially because she kind of like her role in the movie. I feel like a lot of it is anchored towards her, whereas the other counselors kind of have like little side things going on. They go off, but we're always kind of gravitate back towards her.
Yeah. She's also she just comes in and she's a boss ass bitch.
Yeah.
She's getting shit done. She's building shit. Good for her.
Telling people where to go, what to do. She's kind of, I guess, like a assistant to
Second in
Steve.
command. Yeah, but then also
but
hates
it's only
it there?
because he's like trying to sleep with her.
Yeah,
that's the vibe I'm getting.
He was kind of a creep
because
too.
we have her helping them. We have like they're getting situated. They're talking. Everybody kind of meets a little bit, get some names. But then we have her trying to hammer in the little gutters or whatever that's happening up there. And that's whenever he's talking to her, and that's when we get the vibe of like, I feel like she wanted to leave, but he was just like, just give me another week, another chance. Like if you don't,
and it was like, what did you try?
Yeah. That's what it felt like. They were alone. He tried some moves that she wasn't down for, and probably
because
gave
then
her creep
I
vibes.
guess she had also like she said
that there was something she had to figure out back home or
that's
something.
That's true. She
right?
said
Maybe
she had
a boyfriend.
something to take care of back in California. Maybe it was
she
a
was
boyfriend.
already in a relationship or something, and that's why.
And she was like,
there's layers.
I have some personal reasons, and that's why I don't want to be here. But yeah, she had a sketchbook just laying by her ladder.
I thought that was weird of him too to just pick that up and start looking at it.
Yeah, it's like, bitch, that's not your property.
Getting all up in her business.
But I guess she had
drew
a picture of him.
How he's like, you're talented and pretty.
And
I was like, okay.
No, duh, bitch. I know I'm pretty.
Yeah. But that happens. He kind of caresses her hair a little bit, which is weird.
I love the sass she gives him the whole time. Because when he's like, do I really look like this? She was like, you did last night. And he was like, really? And she was like, you did last night. And she just like keeps giving it to him the whole time. I loved it.
She stands her own. And
but yeah, when he caresses her face.
Yeah. And then right after that, she goes to go find Bill or something like that to go tell him something. He needs he needs to do something. And that's whenever we get kind of like an not interaction, but there's a lot of times in this movie, and I don't know if it's necessarily because someone is watching them. I'm assuming someone is watching them, that we get shots where it's like we're behind a tree looking at what's happening, or behind a bush, or behind this. And I don't know if that was just like for us am I supposed to think every single time that someone watching them, or just their style of how they wanted us to see this frame?
Yeah, because especially in this scene, and then one later right before Bill's death, there are moments where it's just like so close and there's clearly no hiding spot.
Yeah.
And so it's
even
like,
when she walked by her earlier.
Yeah,
and that scene, I was like, how did you miss someone just standing right there? Because the like POV is like right by
she
me.
would have seen her from any like angle around that tree. Yeah. So I was like, is this supposed to be the killer?
That's why I was wondering. I was like, wait, maybe it's not a POV and it's just how they chose to like show us what's happening.
I think I wrote that later.
Or maybe we're supposed to feel like that POV or killer. You know, they're trying to put us in those footsteps.
Yeah. Because later in my notes I wrote,
because it's kind of like a whodunit, but not a whodunit, because it's like we know none of the counselors are doing it.
Yeah.
But we don't know who is like just stalking these kids.
And they try to make you think that, I feel like they try to make you think that Steve did it with the Jeeps and stuff and him being gone the whole time.
Yeah.
But
especially because it felt like at that moment, when she was talking to Bill, it looked like a creeper guy, like being like, who's my girl talking to kind of thing. Like,
yeah. But then they honestly executed that kind of poorly because whenever Steve does leave in the Jeep and stuff, he has the top down. And then basically immediately it flashes to Annie hitchhiking again. I don't know why I had that inflection. Sorry. Hitchhiking.
No, she's hitchhiking, which also too, I put this bitch Annie is just getting in anyone's car.
Yeah, which is not
I guess what
safe.
You used to do back in the day.
Yeah, but that's also how all the murders happen.
That's true.
And so
we got
that's
Ted
why
Bundy,
we don't hitchhike.
got all them. Yeah.
But so then whenever you see the Jeep again, the top is up. And it literally is like the next scene. If they would have waited and then showed Annie like getting picked up, maybe like I don't know, like 30 minutes later, I would have been like, oh, wait, he had time to put that hood up.
Well,
like,
because
put
even
the top
whole
on.
thing with Annie as well, like, she's just there to die and not even like a part of the whole other story. Like, it happens like a side plot.
Yeah. Because at this point, basically, they're like, well, everyone's here except for Annie. That one who's supposed to cook for us. No one's here. And so we're like, okay, well, she hasn't made it yet.
Yeah.
And then that's when he leaves, Steve leaves, and he's like, I'll be back sometime after lunch.
That's right. Yeah.
And he was like, it's also supposed to rain, so make sure you get as much done as possible. And then these motherfuckers go swimming.
That's right.
And I was like,
I feel like as anyone would do when their boss leaves, right?
Yeah.
And so they're all getting whatever. Oh no, because at that point, whenever Annie gets picked up by that Jeep, we have her talking to this person in the Jeep, but then they pass the camp.
Yeah,
and she's
they
like,
accelerate past the entrance.
and she's like, please let me out. And they're not letting her out. And she freaking jumps out of the Jeep, and then goes running into the woods, and she's getting chased, obviously, by whoever is in the vehicle. But yeah, it just kind of for me sucked for Annie because she just like ends up on a train, just gets her neck sliced. Like,
and the practical effects of that were really good.
Yeah, no, throughout the movie, they had some pretty good practical effects. They had Tom Scavini, I think that's his name or something like that, and he's really, really big on like practical effects. I believe he worked on Shaun of the Dead before this as well. Okay. So, and throughout later in his career too, he's done a lot. Yeah,
it looked really good. We did skip over one part that I think is important. We should mention.
What happened?
So basically, after Steve leaves and stuff, and no, wait, it's actually before that. When is it? No, it's after. He says basically right after the storm's gonna roll in, and this is the one scene that happens in between him leaving and then Annie getting picked up.
Gotcha.
And it's Brenda is out there putting the archery what is that called? Target out there, and then Steve fucking shoots an arrow.
It's
Ned, sorry.
Ned,
yeah. Ned shoots an arrow and is like, I guess that's how he's flirting.
Yeah.
But
because then he's like, "Do you want to see my trick shot?"
Yeah, and
he was
narrowly
very close
missed
to
her.
hitting her.
Yeah. She had set it down. It went right past her stomach, but that's some good foreshadowing.
Oh yeah,
as to how she's gonna die.
And also Ned in itself, he's supposed to be like the comedic relief, I guess, or the funny guy in the movie, which always, like in the trope, we always have the one like dude who's kind of always doing a little too much, a little extra.
Yeah, it's like, okay, bud, you need to stop.
Calm down. Not everything's a joke. Yeah. And so, that's whenever we jump to Annie. She got basically murdered. So they're never going to have any food at this camp. And at that point too, oh no, that was a little earlier, but whenever she was talking to the guy in the car, she was mentioning how they were gonna have like 50 kids in like 2 weeks. Like they had this should have been mentioned earlier too. It's like they're preparing. They're gonna open up the camp in 2 weeks.
And now a word from our sponsors.
RogueCon 23. That's right. It is here. It's not back. It's here. It's the first one. Join the ultimate celebration of digital content with its creators, passionate fans, and industry experts. It is all happening in downtown Waco across multiple venues, January 20th through the 22nd of 2023. Now, if you want to go, you got to get tickets, and tickets are on sale at RogueCon23.com. That's RogueCon, RogueCon 23.com. Be there. I'm going to be there. Everybody's going to be there. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Hank. You might remember me from a show called King of the Hill. Check out a King of the Hill rewatch podcast. These boys ain't right, but they are funny. Find the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts or at roguemedianetwork.com. I tell you what.
So going back to her neck getting slit one more time. Yeah. I like the way that the blood didn't immediately shoot out. I like the way that it was like, you could kind of like see the fleshy and then it went.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh.
Well, and a lot of the death scenes too in this, even if they do like have like a practical effect, they're very fast. And I guess because like I think it's a PG-13 as well. And for back then, they don't show a lot of gore or too much like.
I mean, the axe to the face is pretty intense.
Yeah, I feel like that too. But other than that, and like Kevin Bacon's neck thing, and even Kevin Bacon's neck thing, I just mean like even too like whenever that does happen. It's like 5 seconds.
Yeah, you're not seeing much.
It's not a
very quick.
And there's not like a like,
yeah.
It's just
sitting
like
there dying for 30 minutes.
Yeah, literally. But continue for me. I'm gonna look up the rating of this when it was released.
Oh yes. So basically after that though, like I said earlier, they go swimming. Even though they're all supposed to be working, they're like just hanging out in the nice little lake. It was a nice day, and the rain was about to happen, so they need to cool off, I guess. And like you said, their boss was gone, so they're all swimming in the lake, just really kind of dicking around. And then finally, someone's like, "We need to get back to work."
Yeah, and it's rated R actually. Yeah, so it was rated R. But it still, I feel like, didn't show too much gore or anything like that. It wasn't too bloody. And then so we have them needing to go back to work, and then that's whenever Ned gets the clever idea to pretend like he's drowning, which we see,
again,
which is
too much.
Yeah, which is something that like
cool.
if you've ever, it depends, time and situation. Right here, maybe not so great. I don't know. Like, I guess they don't necessarily know what's going on, so that does make sense.
Yeah,
that it's just like a regular day. They don't know they're about to get murdered. But then I'm thinking like there's the Sandlot where it's like cute and funny because it's like a little kid trying to, you know what I'm talking about? Do you know that scene in the Sandlot? Yeah. But which is probably where they got that from this maybe. But anyways, I was like, come on, Ned. So they go in, they go save Ned, bring him up. Brenda tries to give him mouth to mouth, which is what he wanted, and
also
then he tries
Brenda's
to kiss her.
dive into the water was so beautiful, and then Jack just fucking flops. She was like,
I saw that.
I am Grace, and then
I
he
noticed
was like,
that.
It cracked me up. I was like, come on, boy, like you couldn't have tried that again.
Yeah,
like one more time to get a slightly better dive.
Yeah,
I feel like I don't even know how to dive, and I would dive better than that.
He plopped in.
But yes, Brenda's the one who gives him mouth to mouth, and then he starts making out with her.
Yeah, which is not a cute way to trick someone into kissing you, but
No.
I guess they were flirty enough at this point that it was all right. And so after that, we have them getting back to the cabin to, whatever they were trying to do, get everything ready. And then we have someone finds a snake in the cabin.
It's
Annie. Is it Annie? Yeah.
And it's the way
not
that
Annie. Annie? Annie's dead.
No, not Annie. Alice.
Okay.
But the blonde, our final girl.
Yes.
And it's the way I was screaming more because of the snake than I was like anything else.
And they kind of the way they all react though too, and they're all jumping all over the place trying to get the snake. That's a lot.
I was like, why are y'all doing this?
But there's some actually tragic like backstory to this.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's a real snake.
Oh,
and
it did look real.
It was very real, and I was thinking like, there's no way this is a real snake. And I just looked it up today on some fun facts, whatever. Well, it's not really that fun. They got a dude who like handles snakes. It's like a pet snake, I guess, but like for like stage acting and stuff.
Yeah.
And they didn't tell him, and they didn't even tell him, and they killed it. They didn't even tell him what was gonna happen. Otherwise, he wouldn't have let him use the snake. Yeah, and they ended up killing the real snake. Yeah, R.I.P. snake. But also ill snake.
Yeah. I was like, oh, poor snake.
Yeah.
Because it looked really real.
No. Yeah.
I was like, that's exactly what
they didn't just hack it once. They hacked it like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
So they
also how do you call a snake? And she was like, call it.
Yeah.
It's like
the way they're all just like, well, if y'all would just give some space, it would come out. It's obviously afraid of y'all. But yeah, they
destroyed the room.
They did
for no reason.
for just the little snake not under the bed.
I also would have just left that cabin and everyone back in, but
yeah, I think it was Alice who said, or was it Brenda? She's like, I can't sleep with a snake in here. You gotta kill it. Yeah. So poor Snake Gate, we have that happening, and then after that we have them outside doing some shit, and then that's whenever the cop shows up. We have Ned appropriating culture.
Yeah. I was like,
but
yikes.
I will say he was looking like a snack. I will say I was like, I don't mind the outfit.
He did have some very small shorts on.
Some booty shorts. And so the next cop comes and is basically another there's so many harbingers like of like just doom in this movie, because he's also just another voice that's telling them like,
This place is not okay.
This place is not okay. Y'all shouldn't be here, and saying like, if y'all are here, we'll to not like basically looking for Ralph. That's when we get more information on how like he's a drunk, and he just like, also I guess it's trying to like make it seem like, you know, he's crazy, so everything he said earlier could like not be true, I guess, in a way, but we already know what's about to happen. But we have that whole interaction with the cop, and it's funny because like at the end he's like, what does he say? He's like, we ain't gonna stand for no weirdness out here.
Yeah.
So
I think so.
You can already tell.
Keep your nose clean.
Yeah, this is just another, you know, adult figure basically telling these kids to like act right. You know. Yeah.
Because he immediately comes up and is like, "What have y'all been smoking?" And he's like, "That's right. You know, the weed. Dig it." I was like, "What?"
Because even they're like, "What are you talking about?
What the hell?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "I don't smoke. It causes cancer." Anyways.
And so immediately after that, we get the scene wherever they go back into the cabins, and Alice is in the kitchen, and she's going to that pantry. And she opens it up, and that's whenever Ralph just pops out.
He was just standing there,
just ready.
How long were you gonna wait? For someone to open that pantry.
Literally.
I
came to warn you, but only when you found me.
Yeah. He was just like standing at the back, and I was like, I wonder how much time he had to kill.
He was crazy though.
In between, like
he was crazy though. Maybe he was getting a snack, and she just happened to found him. And so he obviously gives another like warning of death.
He says, "I am the messenger of God. You're doomed if you stay here. This place is cursed." And go.
And that's whenever Ned is just like, I think you should just go.
Yeah.
You should leave. And then he does leave. And this is where I was just like, damn, this isn't, you know, as he's walking away, he's like, you're all doomed. You're doomed.
He literally stood there to hide in the pantry for however long, come out,
just to tell them
that,
3 things and go.
And then he leaves.
He just
dips.
Well, I mean, kudos to him. He's like, you know what? I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stay.
I'm surprised he went down there in the first place, though.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to die, sir.
And how do you beat Annie? I mean, I know she's dead now, but did he rode his bike down there? I
guess while she was sitting there walking, and
it's true.
Maybe he knew a shortcut.
Probably.
Also, the time I guess could be a little off.
And so, that's true. Anyways, he leaves, and I'm just thinking like, where is he going? But okay. He's probably he was a murderer the whole time.
Yeah.
I was like thinking too. There has to be like a joint.
It could have been him.
Two people murder, like Stu Mocker and Bailey Loomis. There we go.
Sounds like Randall.
But yeah, Randall. We have then we look at Jack. Jack's with Kevin Bacon and Miss Marcy, not Marsha. I kept calling her Marsha, then I have it written down as Marsha. Marcy are making out. Ned's watching them because I guess he's
weirdo.
Yeah, he's just watching
also,
them.
the power is went out, and they've got a backup generator at this point.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That's not.
Because they went to go do that.
Just a small little scene, but
yeah, because that generator does come into play later.
And at this point, I'm like, well, they were all eating lunch, and I was like, wasn't Steve supposed to be back by now?
He's gone for a really long time.
Yeah, he's like,
the way
I'll
he
be
said,
back
I was about
after
to be
lunch.
back, especially because he said, I'm trying to beat the rain, and yet it never started raining, and he still wasn't there yet. But at this point, after they're kissing or whatever, and then as Ned is watching them, he sees someone in another cabin, and that's whenever I'm like, no, Ned, do not go. But he goes to investigate, and that's whenever we kind of don't see Ned for a while.
Yeah.
And anyways, we're back to Jack, we're back to Marcy, they're kissing on the dock, they're just talking, and then that's whenever the storm starts happening.
Oh, and Marcy has some weird ass dreams.
She does.
That's what I was like, is fucking Marcy the killer? Because the way that she was
kind
like,
of trying to make
it's so loud, and she said, I had this dream where the rain would fall so hard and it was just so loud, and I would cover my ears and it wouldn't stop until then the rain would turn to blood and it would just wash away, and then all the silence would stop. And I was like, I wonder if, like,
that was a vision. That was a vision of what was about to happen to all of them.
Yeah, that's true. Literally. I was like, I feel like maybe if she was
a prophet,
not sane, and wanted to murder people, like I feel like a lot of the times people hear voices in their heads and it's so loud, and then until they kill, does it only become silent? And so I was like, oh.
Caitlin, is there something you have to tell us? The experience that you have with that story. We're all quiet now. Literally. And so we have them doing their little talking on the dock, and then it starts raining really hard, it's about to start storming. So we have them running off.
Oh, also the lightning flashes, it looked like just headlights flashing on them.
Yeah.
I have no clue if it was, but
it probably was.
I would love to think that was how they made that effect.
I'm sure.
Because it was like stupid bright lightning.
Didn't seem like they had like a huge budget for the movie or anything like that.
That's true.
So it could be, or something else, or just like, I don't know, some overhead lighting that they were flickering, literally, yeah.
Turning the lamp up and then back down.
And so then we have, after this, I guess the girls, do they already go? Yeah, right? They go into the room already. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. We have her getting in her little panties. She gets on the bed. He takes off his shirt.
And I just want to know how they don't know Ned is on top
Ned
of them.
Ned is literally above them in the bunk bed above them.
Like I know
because I feel like it would have been eye level or something when they walked in, but it's very dark and there's no power, so that's one thing. And he has to light that little candle. Remember?
Yeah, and there looked to be like some sort of like rucksack on the other side of Ned.
So they didn't see from their perspective. He was getting blocked.
Yeah,
he looked just like a.
There was one part where I feel like Annie did get up from. No, why do I keep fucking bringing back Annie?
Alice. You mean Alice?
No, Marcy. When I feel like she got up kind of on that side, and I was like, girl, how do you not notice that? Also, there was blood on the fucking pillow. Yeah. There was blood on her pillow, like while they were fucking. There was blood on the pillow to the right of her head. Yeah.
But I did whenever they're.
I guess it's a gross camp pillow.
They're right in the middle of doing the do, and that's whenever you get a flash of light and you see Ned's body just like bloodied and corpsed up on top of them because he was just murdered. That was pretty sad.
It was.
I was also pretty sad that we didn't get Ned's death like on screen. It just happened to get killed off screen.
There were a few deaths that
happened that way. Yeah, more than a few, I'd say. Kind of most of the deaths.
Yeah, you just kind of see them wander off, and then it's like
they're dead.
Whoop.
Yeah.
Bye.
And so I keep for a while here in these notes. It's like, where's Ned? What happened to Ned?
Where the fuck is Ned?
Why is nobody asking where's Ned at? Because at one point someone's like, oh, where Jack and whatever, and we're like, oh, I'm sure they're dry wherever they're at right now, but nobody's asking about
back to the others. And I was like, they only mentioned Jack and Marcy. I was like, poor Ned.
Literally.
But at this point, the moment he went in that cabin, I was like, and Ned's dead. Bye.
Because we're going in between what's happening with Jack and Marcy and the rest of the counselors, and they're playing strip Monopoly.
That's right.
Remember?
Which is so odd. But wait, so because of Jack's death, the killer had to have been under the bed the whole time.
The whole time they were doing it.
She was just under the bed the whole time.
Yeah.
That's the funniest idea to me.
And it's so funny too because we do figure out who the murderer is here in a little bit, but whenever this hand comes up and holds his head and then goes like, it's the man's hand.
Yeah.
You can very clearly a lot of times like other body doubles in places where it should have been
just like Halloween when there were multiple people playing Michael, there were multiple people playing the killer before they finally
reveal the killer.
Yeah, because there are some points where it's like you just see like just the boots or something,
and it looks like a total like a man.
Which like wear whatever you want, but those were man's feet.
Yeah, you can tell.
Men's feet.
A few times, and even later when someone gets thrown through the like you can tell that's not her body. But we have them playing the strip Monopoly. It's all scandalous, whatever, some kids just playing around, and that's whenever we have all that shit happening with Jack, Marcy, and Ned also kind of simultaneously.
And then while we were watching this, Andrew brought up a good point. He was like, so is this kind of like playing back to the beginning, because right before that they were all around
the campfire
or like
singing.
In the
they had a guitar
room.
As well.
Yeah, in the guitar, like playing the guitar, singing.
The second part where the dude is playing the guitar, that's actually the actor playing the guitar. And it was so pretty. Yeah,
it was. Good job for him. But yeah, and then like while that is happening, we've got the couple going and having sex.
It makes sense.
And then they get murdered.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, oh, you're right.
It's a parallel.
Yeah.
And also, which also is like, I feel like Mrs. Whatever, the killer also makes that distinct reason to like killing these people, because they're like, y'all were too busy doing this, and this to be watching the children, you know?
To be watching my son who's drowning.
Them. Yeah.
Especially the ones who are making
funny.
love.
It just came out, a light bulb went off for me because he was playing the actual guitar, and you said that's Bing Crosby's son. So that makes sense.
This does make sense.
Music, because
right.
That makes sense.
Duh.
Okay. And so we have all that going on. We have the strip monopoly then being over because for some reason they stopped playing, and then Marcy goes to the restroom. And Marcy's in the restroom. She hears sounds, and she's like. And then she was struggling, like turn on water. She hears sounds. She's looking around. She thinks it's, someone trying to play a prank on her. And she's looking for them behind shower curtains.
But before she dies, Jack dies.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He does.
That's right. Yeah. So while she's over there, like using the restroom and stuff like that, the killer then has this really cool death where they are behind or beneath the bed, and then just stabs them from the other side through the neck with this like scalpel almost looking thing.
Yeah,
like,
arrow.
It looks like,
I don't know.
Oh, it probably was an arrow. You're right.
Yeah.
They're at camp. It was an arrow because the end of it looks like an arrow.
Yeah.
Like the tip.
But then it's got like a hollowed out point though too. So I guess maybe a real fancy.
It
arrow.
looks like to me, like what people use to I forget what it's called. I think it's scalloping or scalping. It's like what people do for pottery when they're like.
Oh yeah, to
little,
like when they're like sculpting things and stuff. I don't know the correct phrase either, but that scene was awesome.
Yeah,
the way that it poked up through his neck and you could like see the skin like protrude.
And they did a practical.
It goes,
they did what they did is they created a dummy neck and like this part, so like a bust basically, and then they had his head through a hole in the bed, and so he was there. And they had the fake thing, and they had a fake body like laid in the bed, and then it's like, and if you looked at it closely, you could see the discoloration between his face.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go back and
his
look
neck
at that.
skin. You can totally see it.
Oh,
but
damn.
It's 1980s, so like.
Yeah, I wasn't paying that much attention, and I was like, that looked cool.
Yeah.
I loved it, but yes, then Marcy is, and it's the way. Okay, were her and Ned like siblings? They gave sibling vibes to me.
I never thought of that.
Because also both of them throughout the entire movie kept doing impersonations.
That's true.
Like he did one and then she did one while they were swimming.
That's
and then
true.
she impersonates
someone else.
Audrey Hepburn, right?
Audrey Hepburn.
And
I know the first one was Mae West.
Yeah.
And then she's doing something, yeah.
Yes. I don't know who. But the way I felt like it was such an interesting way to look, most people look in the mirror and they're like, I hate myself. I'm so ugly. And then the way she did it was with an impression that was like, much more plain than, I don't know, remember what she said.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I wouldn't know.
It was such a funny way.
But I can see
she's
where
kind of funny.
They
I like her.
can be like the common thread of that. Yeah.
But then also he was like, are there going to be any more beautiful girls other than you? And it's like, oh, okay, that would be creepy.
But I could see that still though.
Maybe they're just besties.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. But she's looking for him. Don't see nobody. That's whenever she's looking behind shower curtains, and then she looks behind another one after the first one, and she's like, "Guess it must have been my imagination." And then she turns around, and this is where we get a beautiful shot of an axe like in the air, and then it hits a light. And then it's the way that like it all happens. It's like duh duh duh. Like it's not like a
swoop. Yeah.
It's like it
and
steps
her
to her
scream,
getting murdered.
Her eyes were closed, and I was like, "Bitch, you're just waiting for it."
She's waiting for her to
she was like,
die.
yeah,
she was
okay,
accepting
time
it.
To die.
Literally, yeah. She didn't like try to move out the way or run or do anything. None of these people really do. They just allow their fate to happen.
And it's time for me to die. Okay, goodbye. Her face though I was like, "Damn, you were doing so well," and then your death scream.
And
was
so
pretty bad.
it was a fake axe, obviously, but before the fake axe that's put in her head is like there. They used a real axe to like give weight to it, and like that's what hit the light and all that. They wanted it to like give more than just like her getting bonged with like a fake axe, which I guess kind of worked, but also too, it just kind of seems like it's too like technical almost. Technical. I just hit the freaking microphone. It's too technical because like it doesn't happen at the same time, and you don't get like a wide shot. It's kind of like you get a shot of this, and you can get a shot of that.
Yeah,
and then the axe.
It's very choppy.
Yeah, that's the right word. Is choppy. But after her very dramatic death, that's whenever I think we get Steve. We finally get to see where Steve's at. He's like at the diner or something. And he's talking to the lady behind the counter, and he's talking about going back, and she's telling him not to, I believe, right at this point, because it's like still storming really bad.
Yeah, and he was like, I have to get back to the counselors. They're probably like completely lost out there. And I was like, well, you only have 3 left now. So.
Literally, you did lose them. And so we have that happening, and then simultaneously we have Brenda, who's gonna go get ready for bed or something. I'm assuming she's going to go brush her teeth and do all that. She gets her little green jacket.
She
and goes
ran
to the
out
restrooms
because like strip poker got kind of shut down halfway because the door blew open.
That's right.
And so she just puts her little. I love that green jacket.
It was very
so
nice.
cute.
Yeah.
She
like a
just
raincoat.
puts it, raincoat on over her bra and panties, and then just like runs for it, and then goes and gets her stuff.
Yeah, she's gonna get ready for bed, I'm assuming. She's doing all the nightly routine stuff, and that's same thing. Just like Miss Marcy, she kind of hears something in the restroom, and that's
good for her.
She's smart and doesn't
She's
go
like,
check it out because she kind of dips out. But before that, while she's still like looking and doing stuff in the mirror, we get this little hand that like comes up around the shower curtain. And then it kind of goes away for a second.
Which was
contemplation on the murder. Like, is this the moment? Is this not? But then she ends up leaving too soon for anything to happen, which I was like, oh, yay, that's good for her.
Yeah.
And then
like,
right after that,
Brenda, good for you.
we get another reaction where Steve's like at his car and it won't start or something happens.
It's randomly breaking down.
Yeah, it's randomly breaking down, and he gets picked up by a cop. And then the cop is going to take him to,
which gives
the
you
rest
kind of some false hope. Because you're like, oh, they're
Maybe a
almost
cop's
there. He's got a
coming.
cop.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be fine.
And then, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Because after that, we have them.
Okay.
We go back to the camp, and that's whenever Brenda starts hearing shit.
Yeah. Also, in Brenda's room was a sink. And so I was like,
why would she need to go?
Why did she go to brush her teeth? Unless she was
anticipating to take a shower.
Yeah.
And
and then was like,
scared
no,
away by all
whenever
those
she
noises.
heard that.
Yeah,
maybe. But I was just like, why the hell she would go all the way over there? She's just brushing her teeth. There was a sink right there.
I don't even think she ever really did get to brushing her teeth. Did she?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because the water wasn't. She was having the same trouble that.
Yeah, but she went to the second sink, which Marcy did fix.
Okay.
And then it did turn on.
Gotcha.
But she at least put something to her face.
And so we have all that happening. Then Brenda is back in the camp, one of the cabins area, and she starts hearing someone being like, "Help! Help!" outside, like a little kid saying, "Help me outside." And so
most unconvincing "help me" of my life.
And so obviously
I would have been like, nah, fuck you.
She goes to go check it out. And so leads her all the way. She has
a heart.
Yeah. And it literally takes her all the way back to the archery range, the arching range. And she's out there, and it's basically just a wide shot of her like saying, is anybody out there in like in the rain, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it was coming down so hard that her hair was like getting in her face. She couldn't see that. I mean, it was a wonder she could see anything.
Yeah.
Where she was walking.
Because we have all the lights turned on her, and that's whenever she's like, at this point, I feel like everybody keeps thinking someone's playing a joke on them. She's like, okay, guys, like this is enough. And that's whenever we get like just a scream off camera.
Yep.
Right after that.
And it flashes to Alice.
We're left to assume that she's dead, which we find out later. And yeah, it flashes to Alice and Bill, right? Or just Alice. No, she's making the coffee, isn't she?
Well, Bill came in, and Alice was like, I heard a scream, and then she was like, and then all the lights at the archery range were turned on, and he looks out the window.
He can't see anything.
And he's like, I don't see anything. And then he was like, I'm going to go check on it. And then Alice says, can I go with you?
That's
I was like, good for you. Good for fucking you
right.
for not splitting up there. And they go and
they look around.
Check on it. They go to they go to one of the cabins. There's a little axe tucked into the bed.
Yeah, it's literally, I think it's the cabin. Wasn't it the cabin that they were doing it in? Where Ned was?
Probably.
I just think all the bodies were moved.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, they go in there, they see the little bloodied axe, and I think that's when Alice is like, what in the heck is going on here? And Bill is still just like, I don't know.
And then they didn't bring the fucking axe with them.
No, they didn't.
They should have kept it. At least like something seems fishy.
That's when we realize that the phones aren't working, as well the line's down. Then they go check the truck. The truck isn't working because obviously someone cut some lines. Fuel lines were cut. Yeah. So
Alice is like, let's hike out of here.
Literally.
And he was like, it's 10 miles.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't fucking care. Let's get out.
Alice knows something is wrong. And Bill is still just like, all right, we're going to figure this out. And then meanwhile,
we're going to laugh about it tomorrow.
Later in the morning. Yeah. And then gives her like a little on the cheek, which I thought was weird. I was like, that's not your girl.
But I feel like they had more chemistry than Steve did. I felt like Alice actually liked him.
Maybe.
I don't know. She gave me that.
But I thought Bill was with the other girl. Bill was with
Brenda was with Ned.
Brenda was with Ned. Alice had Steve, quote unquote. Marcy was with, I thought there was, oh, you're right. I could have sworn I saw him with some other chick at one point. But it was just him. Him and Alice were the first two there.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the beginning. And so then after all of that.
Then it flashes back to the cop and Steve. And the cop is basically explaining, he's like, it's Friday the 13th.
And a full moon.
Roll credits. And then, and a full moon. And he was like, basically, everyone just goes crazy at this point. And it always brings out the weirdos. We have the highest number of blah, blah, blah homicides.
Yeah.
Wink, wink. And all these other things.
It's foreshadowing of like what's happening right now, basically.
You've got a fuck ton of homicides on your hands, sir.
And so we then get a call from 911 to the dispatchers to the cop, and the cop has to leave. He has to go take care of something else, so he drops off Mr. Steve at a certain point. I'm sure he's like right at the entrance to the camp,
pretty close,
because it doesn't take
but
too
not
long.
quite all the way in.
We do see him running in, and he comes to our little opening sign where it says Camp Crystal Lake to the entrance, and that's whenever he sees a light flash on, a flashlight, and he's like, oh my God. And so he's like, who's that? And then he sees them. And that's this point, you can tell they recognize each other, because he's like, oh, hey, what are you doing out here?
And then
he gets stabbed immediately.
And the sound was like, it actually made both Andrew and I jump a bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, whoa, okay.
I always thought it's so funny that it's like, he's just like, what are you doing here? Oh,
yeah.
And then it cuts away. Like,
it reminded me very much of the first death, the first stabbing, like mid-sentence and stuff. He was wearing yellow as well.
I was like, Steve is dead fast.
Yes, he was. I was like, oh, man.
He literally came back just to die.
Just to die.
And so we have the power is then out, right? Like it was already been kind of out, but like then like it's like out. Like at this point, not even the backup generator is working, right? Because it goes out, because then it goes like pitch black.
Yeah,
and that's whenever
like
Bill, and that's whenever Bill says, "I'm gonna go fix it," and that's whenever
like,
Alice is like, "I want to go with you," but he's like, "No, you just stay here and go to sleep.
Get some rest." Blah blah blah.
She did look really tired.
She did.
And so then we have Alice waking up. We get, we obviously get to see Bill like having this interaction going and like trying to get the generator fixed, and the whole time we're thinking like, yep, he's about to die. He's about to die.
And this is where I put the note, like, is the camera work supposed to be from the eyes of the killer or not? Because I was like, either some of these motherfuckers have zero spatial awareness, or
because he's literally right there.
Yeah, it like zooms in, like it's like the camera almost hits his face at one point.
Yeah,
and I was like, how you know?
I don't know. I think that's just how they chose to film it.
But then he obviously did die in that room or around
he died.
there.
We don't get to see it, but he is dead, because then we get Alice waking up.
Bill!
And she's like freaked out. Yeah. And we can assume it's probably been like 15, 20 minutes. She probably knocked out and then was like, oh shit.
Had one of those where you're falling kind of dreams, but
I have those all the time.
Bill dying, I suppose, instead.
And so she wakes up. She's going to go looking for Bill. She ends up going to where the generator is. And it's the way that she opens the door and then closes the door. And then Bill is total Halloween style. Where he's just pinned up on the door
with some arrows.
And she's freaking out. Obviously, he's pretty messed up.
Yeah, but how fun!
Yeah,
it was fun. I like that part.
She freaks out, obviously, as anyone would, and that's when we get her running out of there. She then goes to another cabin room, and that's whenever she's by the kitchen, or it's in the kitchen, isn't it? Because I remember she's by a fridge, and that's whenever we get what's her face getting thrown.
Because she's like trying to tie up the entrance and stuff. And
that's right.
In the most inefficient way possible.
She kept trying to build stuff up, and it was just like she's making a path of
everything
mess.
Just kept falling down, and I was like, "Girl, I think you got it with the string tied to the roof thing."
Yeah, even then I'm just like, she's only making more of a hazard for herself than she is.
I was like, she's possibly tying up the only exit
to get out.
Because I was like, I didn't know
you're tying that shit up, but there's like windows,
and she closes one set of curtains, but not the others. And then she does go exploring.
She's freaking out.
Yeah,
she's freaking out.
And I was like, okay, I guess I don't know what I would do in that situation either, but I was just like, what if the killer's already inside, girl? Like, come on.
The call is coming from inside the house.
Yep.
And so we have her.
Then she goes to the kitchen.
Going to the kitchen. She's kind of we just have her freaking out. It's funny because even the whole time she was putting on the chairs up and tying things, she keeps making these like, noises, and I'm just like, oh, okay, like this is a lot. Anyways, and so
right before right before the window scene happens, she's like sitting there and she kind of slumps back against the fridge and she's like, what am I gonna do?
Literally, and
like
then a body flies right through the window.
That's funny.
It ends up being Brenda, so we now know Brenda's officially dead because she gets thrown through the window right in front of her, and it's the way that Alice is just like mortified, just like looking at her the whole time and can't take her eyes off her and is just screaming. You know? And nowhere at any point, and Alice doesn't even like, I mean, I'm sure she probably looked at it, but Alice doesn't even like try to help or check alive? Pulse or like anything.
There were a few moments where it looked like Brenda was still alive.
I thought she was moving.
There was multiple times where I was like,
or it's just bad acting.
Brenda's still alive.
I'm just playing a dead person. She's still breathing. But like literally, I was like, wait, she's not even gonna check on her. Yeah. Like she just like leaves her.
This bitch dead.
Literally. And so she gets out of there, and I think that's right after that she starts seeing the flashlight.
Yeah, she sees headlights.
The headlights. That's what it is.
And she's like,
headlights.
She's like, Steve, oh my God, Steve. And I'm like, oh, that's not Steve. And then this is where Mrs. Voorhees walks out. Mrs. Voorhees
comes out of the same Jeep that picked up Miss Annie. So already, like, okay, we know where this is going.
Yep.
We have her coming out, and already from the get-go, you can tell something ain't right with Miss Voorhees.
Yeah, she's a
little off. She got the crazy eyes. And it's the way she's like telling Alice, she's like, I can't help you if you don't tell me what's going on. Stop crying. Stop whatever.
She just wanted to hear what she had done back to her probably.
Yeah.
And she says like, I'm an old friend of Christie's. I've worked out here. Yeah. I know. The Christie. Sorry. I know all about this place, but I can't help you. I can't help you. Yeah. And then at one point she was like, no, we can't go in there. And she's like, I'm not afraid. And
literally,
because you're the motherfucking killer.
Literally.
Bitch,
and so at that point, that's whenever we get the good old villain monologue and Miss Voorhees.
She literally lets the killer into the building with her.
Literally. And she gets revealing basically everything, what happened with Jason and what happened all those other years were basically her trying to keep the camp from reopening.
I couldn't let this place reopen.
Yeah. So we have all that revealed by Mrs. Voorhees, and at that point, that's whenever Alice is just kind of like, I don't think she knows what the hell she's gonna do. Yeah,
especially when she goes, "Today was his birthday."
Yeah, and Alice already at that point is like, "Shit," and that's whenever we have the psycho moments, I believe, too. Whenever Mrs. Voorhees is like,
it's like flashing back to Jason's drowning, and he's like, "Help me, mommy," and she's like, "I will, Jason." I will. Yeah, and you're getting this like double exposure happening.
It was given DID to me. I was like, she totally took on her son's persona as a traumatic,
which is actually, I mean, it's a relatively common thing.
Yeah.
There was, I was listening to this one, I think it was like honestly like a zombie kind of story, like a real life zombie thing where someone died and then came back to life. But the whole time after the child's death, this mother was sitting there and had this alternate persona that was her kid because she couldn't let
cope.
go.
Yeah, she had to keep some sort of like.
And then I think the kid came back. It was fucking weird. I don't know. I'll have to find that and send that to you.
Yeah. It's giving story from the Bible. I'm just kidding. Resurrection?
Jesus said.
And so
take
anyways.
on your child's persona.
Literally. And so we have all that happening. We have then what got to be about 6-7 different fights between Mrs. Voorhees and Alice leading up to the finale.
Andrew was getting pissed. He was like, just fucking kill her.
Me too. I was like, is she not going to like double tap at any point?
Like, girl, like, you got to double
keeps
tap.
Just like knocking her out. And then this is at what point too for me, I was just like, is Alice the only person who had like some sort of fight in her? No, you're telling me nobody else put up a fight with this woman?
Tried to at least do something. Yeah. Because she goes down surprisingly easy.
Multiple times. But then there was a certain point where she was like choking her. I was like, you know what? This bitch is wrong.
He's got some strength.
She got some strength in there. Yeah. She's been working up for this all year.
She's one of those moms that gets that adrenaline, lifts a car. Oh yeah, she's power walking.
She's been like training.
She looks like it with that cable net.
And so we have quite a few different interactions between her and Alice, where they're fighting. There's a time when Alice hits her in the pantry with a pan. Like a big old pan.
And she's been running around.
Before that, there was one before that. There's like 3 or 4.
She fights her, then she runs outside. She tries to get to the Jeep. She finds Annie's body. Then she's running. She finds Steve's. And then I just put,
and that, you know what? And that gave, I feel like I'm yelling, sorry. That gave Halloween vibes, especially when
he came out and he swung down.
Because all the bodies are like lined up for her to run into.
Ms. Voorhees putting in the work, just like Michael did. Yeah. And then this is where it gets very, like, this is where you really see that she has taken on this alter ego.
Yeah.
And this gave me that very Norman Bates vibe, like talking to.
When you finally just lose it. She snapped. At this point, it was all gone.
And that part was pretty good. Yeah. I liked it.
Oh, I like it too. I liked the part where she was like kind of losing her mind. Like I felt like it just makes the most sense with the character as well.
Yeah.
It had me cracking up a little bit at some points, but I liked it.
There were some points where I was like, that was a little comical, but there were some other parts where I was like, that was well executed.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, if I was in that situation, I'd be like, no, I think the fuck not.
Yeah.
Like, that's scary.
She was pissed off.
Yeah.
She still could not get over the death of her son, which actually, 57 and it's now 80. It's been so many years.
Like
since
20
then.
plus years.
Yeah.
20 years.
It's crazy.
It's pretty wild. And then, so Alice has found a room and she's got a gun and she's about to break this gun, trying to open up the cabinet to get the bullets.
Was literally the way she was banging that thing against the channel. I'm like, that's
it's
not going to work.
Useful.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You're not going to get it open that way. And then finally we have Mrs. Voorhees coming in anyways and then just like snatches the gun from her.
And this is where she says kill her, mommy.
Yeah.
And she's like, I will. And I was like, ooh.
And then it all ultimately leads up to them getting to the docks, getting to the boat area. And then finally Miss Voorhees comes towards Alice with a machete and they're fighting. And then finally, Alice gets the machete from her.
Yeah.
And they're
all this
doing
time.
a little fighting. So even more
hardcore
like
fighting.
They're basically like punching each other, they're throwing each other down,
and
they're
you're
choking
right,
each other.
She did hit her with the cast iron pan.
She had hit
she
her with the cast iron pan.
She should have double tapped her then, and she should have hid behind in that bush longer before she went to the dock.
Yeah, that's true.
If she would have hid there longer, I feel like she wouldn't have been noticed.
Made in contact with her. And I guess it is important to say that a lot of these actors were actually stage actors. A lot of them didn't have like experience like in theatrical roles or on-screen roles. They were like stage actors. So that's why I feel like a lot of this acting throughout the movie too, it's very like dramatic. Like we're performing for the people in the back of the crowd.
Alice had that one line at the beginning whenever she goes to meet Bill and asking about like the thinner, and she goes, I don't even know if I'll make it all week.
Yeah.
That one, I was like, ooh, girl.
Overacting a little bit. But it's because they're stage actors.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
And so, I felt like a lot of this is very theatrical in the sense of the stage, theatrics.
Also, the way Ms. Voorhees was swinging this machete and half the times was the silliest thing.
Silly.
I was like, girl,
but I loved her performance.
How'd you kill people with that?
And then finally, we get the ultimate scene where Alice grabs a machete and then just whoosh, like a baseball bat chops off Mrs. Voorhees' head, and it's very comedic in the way too that this is shot.
The head, it looks like it kind of exploded off.
Yeah,
it was like boom, and then her hands are like up in the air.
The dude that the way that they had the fake head on top of a stunt double's body, and they had it attached with toothpicks. That way it would really just like.
On a stunt double's body?
Yeah.
Where was
like on some prosthetics. Like it's like he had like a something on top of his head.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
not just like in his skin. Yeah.
I was imagining
with pins and needles.
I was imagining him just like leaning his head like
and just holding it like this.
Yeah. Or
like, cheese.
It's just like balancing on his like shoulders.
Yeah.
Or his like pecs,
The power of practical effects, man. A toothpick. It can keep your chimichanga together and your flautas together when you're frying them, and also hold on a fake head.
Yum.
And so we have, her head flies off. We got blood and bone, and then she just falls to the floor basically. And then we have Miss Alice then finally making her way to the boat, and she gets in one of these little canoes and starts, getting herself to which also at that point I don't understand why she would get in the boat and get to a middle of a lake. When you just killed the killer.
Yeah, you just killed the killer. You should be safe. I mean, I guess she doesn't know if there's a second one out there. So she doesn't know. So I guess that would be the safest spot.
And that's whenever we get, like you said, it's now daytime by this point. We have the music,
cops rolling up.
Music playing of, it's more cinematic, or I don't know what the word is from the rest of the movie. The rest of the movie was like very like jarring, scary music, and this is supposed to be peaceful, tranquil, giving you like this is the happy end of the movie. And then she's in the lake. We have her then noticing that the coppers are coming because she hears the sirens, and as soon as she kind of like props up and looks over there at them, we have a very muddy and wet Jason Voorhees hopping young, like a kid version, jumping out of the water and grabbing her and pulling her into the water out of the boat.
Just when you think all
just
is
when you
safe.
think it's over.
Yep.
And that's when we then get like I'm assuming it's a dream sequence.
Yeah.
Right. But she wakes up, comes to you in the hospital, and that's when they're asking her all these questions, like, or she's asking questions. Sorry. She's like, are they all dead? You know? And then he's
did you
like,
find the boy?
And she's like, did you find the boy? And he's like, what boy? And she's like, Jason, the boy who drowned. And he's like, Jason,
the boy in the water.
Yeah. And so she's like, that means he's still out there.
And he's still there. And it doubles exposures back to the lake. And then it then settles on the lake and we pan in.
Yeah. It's a beautiful like sun glistening on the water type of scene. And that's it. And that's 1980s Friday the 13th.
Fun.
Yeah, it was good. I hadn't seen it in a really long time. Like
I was telling Mike, I forgot
school,
that the like hockey mask thing wasn't even a part of this.
He doesn't even come in, I think, until the third one. Yeah,
which is like what everyone thinks about when they think of Jason and Friday the 13th, and it's like literally wasn't even a thing until
the third one. Which is so like crazy to me to think about, because like when it comes to like horror movies, like Jason is so synonymous with like horror, you know what I mean? And
he's one of the big, like one of the greats.
He didn't even enter his own franchise until like the third movie,
until the third film. Yeah.
And it's
so wild.
This horror franchise too, Friday the 13th, they literally had 8 movies come out in the 10 years of the decade of 1980 to 90. They had 8 movies come out.
That's too many.
Yeah, it really is. But they had one, they did 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, I believe, went to 85 and then went to like 88, 89, and then
You'd think Wes Craven was in on this.
For real. Got himself a franchise. It's cash grab. But yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna rate this.
Me neither.
To be honest.
I don't know. I asked Andrew, he goes 1.5.
Yeah. I watched it with Robert. He didn't care for it either. He thought it was funny. He was like, is this a comedy?
Yeah.
I was like, no.
There was one point where Andrew like kind of started tapping his foot and I was like, you good? He's like, they just make me anxious. And I was like,
yeah, this is just, people making dumb choices, but that's what you wanted.
It did get much better towards the end.
Yeah.
Not as like that opening scene.
I think the biggest issue and qualm that I had with the movie, and it's not necessarily that it was bad, it's just that I feel like there was a lot of extra footage that could have been cut out that wasn't necessarily driving the plot anywhere.
Yeah.
Like having a 3-minute scene of her making coffee wasn't exciting to watch.
No.
So if it was just a little condensed,
it makes you feel safe enough and you don't know when it's going to happen.
Like the release of tension and like regular and getting back to spooky. I just feel like if they maybe cut out like a good 20-ish minutes of extra whatever, it would be really solid.
Yeah.
But other than that, you know what? I'd give it like a 2.
A 2? Wow.
I'd give it a 2
out
of 5.
Why is that? Because of everything you just said.
I give it a 2. You know what? I give it a 2022 2. I give it a 1983 and a half, if that makes sense. Because I need to remove myself from like where we are now and what we've seen and what is all made fun of this and graphics and where we are. Where if I was watching this in 1980, probably like 11 or 13 years old, it probably would have spooked me out.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
And I mean, at that,
and for a lot of people,
times,
that's when they watch this.
Yeah.
So this movie holds like
it's
that
special
gravitas.
I know. I feel
I don't
like we'll
shit
get
on
like
someone's
burned
favorite.
at the stake for having any other opinion that this film was great. And I do, like we talked about earlier, the cultural like significance, the impact. This film is iconic.
Yeah. The amount of references that are in pop culture and everywhere else, like in a Nicki Minaj song.
Yeah.
It's Friday
so
the 13th.
many things.
Guess who's playing Jason?
Yeah.
Come on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And man, what is it with them? Because Cardi B had the Nightmare on Elm Street bathtub scene in her Thought Shit music video.
Yeah.
And so
no, that's
Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Anyways,
the amount of references, the amount of influence,
hold such a like big place in pop culture. But I feel like more so
the way
just
Caitlin, you're about to give it a 1.
Jason. No. I was honestly thinking 3.
3?
In like the mindset, like you said, I was in 1980.
Having to take yourself back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because overall, like it did get better towards the end. And I was like, okay, some of these practical effects were really good. There were a bunch of scenes where I was just laughing. But
yeah,
I'm me
not mad
now.
at it.
I'm not then. If I would have seen it when it came out, I probably would have been like, this was good. And I loved the twist because everyone going in, and people forget. And like, that's why in Scream, what was it, 4, the one with what's her face?
Jill, her cousin, Emma Roberts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they're like, the girl, the cheerleader from Heroes.
Oh,
That's the question that got her killed.
Oh, fuck. What's her name?
Yeah.
Hayden Panettiere. What's her name in the movie? Kirby.
Kirby. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's going to be in Scream 6.
Oh, she is?
Yep, Scream 6. Yep.
I was really kind of sad that she didn't come back into 5.
Well, yeah, Nev Campbell's not coming back for 6.
Really?
Or 7, which I mean,
I guess.
I'm torn because it's like, I get it. Like, her story's kind of like, what more can you do with that story?
Yeah.
But I feel like it's not a Scream movie without Nev Campbell in some sort of way. But, you know, we're going to let it.
Dewey's dead now.
We're going to let it figure out. I know. So the next movie, Monica.
What's her real name?
Oh, God. Monica. She's going to be the center, supposedly, of the newer movie. It's going to be Gail Weathers centered, which I'm not mad at.
Yeah.
I like a good
I would
Weathers.
watch the Gail Weathers show. But yes, that was the question that she got wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were like, who was the killer in Friday the 13th, the original? And she was like,
well, that's
Jason.
even at the beginning of the original Scream with Casey.
Yeah.
Remember, she does that. She does. I think that's what you're thinking of.
Oh, maybe.
Because it's with Drew Barrymore. Remember, she's on the phone.
Yeah.
He's like, she's like, that's a trick question.
That's true. Yeah, I feel like.
But Kirby also had.
Or she got something wrong.
Had that whole thing happen.
She had to think a little too long, and technically answered correctly, but
she still ended up losing.
Yeah,
because she got stabbed.
She got stabbed.
But yeah,
but not dead.
So
Yay.
Is it a 3?
Yeah, I'll give it a 3, but like you said, I'll give it a 2.5 from today. No, yeah, I'll just give it a 3.
A 3.
Because
I'll give it a 3 as well.
I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
I fell asleep the first time I was watching it, but I think I was also very tired.
I like learning about what went into it.
Yeah, reading all the facts and stuff. That was super fun.
And I think that's always the fun part of these movies is like getting to know like what actually went into the production. Because especially with this one too, like
you have to be so much more creative.
And especially now itself being the staple that it is, everything that went into it. And also, like you just said, you do have to be more creative because everything now is like we've seen it all. It's derivative of something or someone's thought of it. So back then,
and
these
people get more money. They don't
Yeah.
have to recycle their leaves like they did in Halloween.
That's true.
Picking up all the little fall foliage.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, overall, you guys, your BooBaes give 1980s Friday the 13th OG a 3 out of 5 boos.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a
classic.
It's a classic. If you're really into horror, I feel like you can't not say you are without watching it. To BH, I feel like even if you hate it, you gotta at least
you have to
watch
it.
Yeah, just to know, even
to understand any reference that happens.
That's
in
exactly
other
what I mean. Like that, literally the amount of references.
Because there was this one film I was watching on Shudder that I think it might have actually been a series with one of the ones where, it was a horror anthology kind of one. And there was a bunch of different little like shorts.
Yeah.
And one of them was like, could have been like cut for cut.
Yeah, for sure. Or even
Friday the 13th.
Even American Horror Story season 9 Camp 1984 or whatever.
I didn't get to see that one.
That one is literally
just Friday the 13th.
This movie, but expanded into like 9 episodes. Literally. Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Well, so this one, we chose it, like we said earlier, because it's summertime and, you might be at camp. Who knows? You're doing campy things. You're going camping.
I went to church camp like 3 summers in a row.
Yeah.
I hated it, but my family sent me.
I had to get stitches once. I fell out of a tree. I had to get like 9 stitches in my knee. Super fun. But to stay on trend with the kind of summer-esque feeling and vibes, we are going to do Midsummer next.
Yes, yeah.
Yay. My favorite movie from 2019, hands down.
Directed by Ari Aster. Right?
Yep. Not even just horror film. This was my favorite film of 2019.
And Ari Aster is the same person who directed Your Next, right? He's tied to it somehow.
Somehow, yeah.
Don't remember
he
correctly.
Did Hereditary as well.
That one too, which we will be covering some point as well.
Yes. Oh, because so good. But the little. But so if you have seen this film, I feel like this is one of those ones, kind of like Get Out was, where even if you don't really necessarily like horror, you maybe have seen this film, and it probably fucked you up too.
Yeah.
But so if you want to talk to us about that, you can please do so whenever.
Yeah, please do so. Please reach out to us on our social media, which is only one platform at this moment. It's on Instagram, and that is at BooBaes Podcast, BOOBAES, because we're your BooBaes, not your BooBabes.
And you can let us know what you thought about Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Or any of the franchise.
Or please send us some recommendations if you have a summer movie, horror movie that you feel we should cover.
Because we've got like a list that we can choose from, but neither of us have like a real good, like, this is my favorite summer horror film, because not a lot of them take place
during
in
the
summer.
Yeah. It's kind of a specific niche. But yeah, we're so excited to be doing this, and we are in, once again, the lovely, like we mentioned earlier, Rogue Media Network Studios.
They always
the new
take
studios.
great care of us.
Yeah, it looks really great. And we also implore you to check us out on all of your favorite streaming platforms, wherever that may be. One of the two major ones being either Apple Podcast or Spotify.
And wherever you do listen, please don't forget to rate,
review,
and subscribe,
and like it.
That's right.
Share it.
It's the only way we can get ahead in life. Tell your friends, tell everyone,
tell your family members,
make
go
this
to the
a
cemetery, perform seances,
bring
tell the
people back
ghost.
to life to
Please.
listen to this.
That would have been a good cue in for like Evanescence to like make a little
bring me to life.
Wake me up.
Wake me up inside.
There you go. But anyways,
I was not about to hit those notes right now.
Yeah. Is that all today?
That is.
That's it.
That
guys.
is.
All right.
I
all
gotta
right.
go eat.
Bye.
Baes.
Yeah. Bye, Baes.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast. Join the ultimate celebration of digital content with its creators, passionate fans, and industry experts. It's all happening in downtown Waco across multiple venues on January 20th through the 22nd, 2023. Tickets are on sale now at roguecon23.com.
Hi, I'm Hank. You might remember me from a show called King of the Hill. Check out a King of the Hill rewatch podcast. These boys ain't right, but they are funny. Find the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts or at roguemedianetwork.com. I tell you what.